Live from News Channel 8 in Tampa, Florida, this is Bucs Bonus on WFLA Now. Powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY.
The Buccaneers seeking the NFC South crown this weekend, and for potential MVP candidate Tom Brady, it's against a familiar foe, the Buffalo Bills, this Sunday here in Tampa Bay. Hey there, everybody. JB Biunno here with you on Bucs Bonus, powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY with Karen Loftus of WFLA Sports, giving us all the inside access to the Buccaneers. Of course, WFLA News Channel 8, your official Bucs station. Karen, talking about the NFC South for a second, looking to clinch the NFC South. The last time the Buccaneers did that was 2007 with Jeff Garcia as their quarterback. It has been a long time. We're used to seeing a lot of other names like the New Orleans Saints in particular, winning the NFC South, but the Buccaneers have a chance to do it this weekend. And yeah, Tom Brady putting together an MVP caliber season, leading the way.
They do. So they have a chance to win the division if the Bucs handle their business and they win, and if the Saints and the Panthers either lose or tie. So it's not that big of a stretch, because sometimes you have scenarios where it's like if 18 things happen, then they can clinch. But this is a very doable thing for them to do, and you think it's week 14 and they could clinch the division is a pretty remarkable thing, that they've really just, inched their way to the top of the division slow and steady this season. So that could be pretty cool. There's also, when I speak about 18 scenarios, obviously being facetious, there are several things that need to fall into place that they could actually also clinch a playoff berth. But that's one of those other several step things that would have to happen for them to clinch the playoffs.
It's that time of year when Tom Brady, I'm sure, wants to be firing on all cylinders. There's a couple of players on offense that Brady is really firing with right now, and one of them is Chris Godwin, just having an outrageous game, a record game for the Buccaneers against the Atlanta Falcons, an NFC South opponent last week. And what Godwin has been able to do this season, really developing that rapport with Tom Brady, it's been something special to watch.
It really has, and he was absolutely the X factor against the Falcons. Everybody knows what Chris Godwin brings to the table, but that's what's so special about this Bucs team, is that any one of them can have an outstanding game. And then Chris Godwin, of course, had the spotlight because he had that franchise record 15 catches for 143 yards. But then you can't forget about Mike Evans, who had 99 receiving yards, and then Rob Gronkowski, who had 2 touchdowns for the third time this season that he had multiple touchdowns. So it's just, I think that's one of the big things we keep seeing, is that any of these guys, and I didn't even mention Leonard Fournette.
That was the one I was going to bring up next.
Not only, so he had 92 yards from scrimmage, which we know that he's just become an incredible pass catching back, or he's put in an offense to display that. I'd argue that he has been a pass-catching back. He just hasn't had the opportunity to do that. But then the touchdown that Leonard Fournette had, that one-handed grab, yep. I mean, people can't sleep on those pass-catching skills. That was pretty impressive.
Playoff Lenny has become all the time Lenny, and really it's been a one running back show for the Buccaneers. Just really quickly, and you touched on Leonard Fournette here, but do you think that that's Arians' game plan for the foreseeable future, is to feature Leonard Fournette as the feature back in this offense? Or do you think we sprinkle in a little Rojo here and there? Again, the dynamic passing offense, we know what that's going to look like, but the running game, I don't think that anybody could have foreseen it being this Leonard Fournette-centric at this point in the season.
Yeah, and Leonard Fournette's just really proven his place. And I mean, unless he gives him a reason, by he, I mean Bruce Arians, unless he gives BA a reason not to give him the ball that much, I don't see any reason to change it. If it ain't broke, nothing to fix there. So we still have Rojo. The Bucs still have Ronald Jones there if they need him. And he had a little bit of an emergence, I think it was against the Colts a couple games ago, that he's still there. He can still hold his own. So it's nice to know that they do have both of them.
I do want to talk about the Buffalo Bills, some interesting notes with the Buffalo Bills in just a moment. But first, let's just flip over to the defensive side of the ball. If you're trying to stop Josh Allen and the Bills this weekend, what are some of the things that you have noted this week about the Buccaneers preparing defensively for a really good football team coming into Tampa Bay to play at Raymond James Stadium, 4:25 kickoff on Sunday in the Buffalo Bills? Defensive side of the ball, what are we talking about?
I think if the defense can do what they did in the Falcons game, I mean, with 5 sacks, it was absolutely incredible. Sue and Vita Vea both had 2 sacks in the game. If they can get pressure on Josh Allen, make him uncomfortable. I mean, Allen's got Stephon Diggs out there, and we know that they have a killer connection. So anything just to throw Josh Allen off his game, make him uncomfortable, get that pass rush. And we saw the interior guys getting through this time. So we can have the guys in the perimeter coming around or the guys in the interior, however you have to get it done. I think is going to be the key to success is just get him off his mark, get him out of his rhythm early.
If I'm speaking of Bills Mafia out there, that is a great, unique, one-of-a-kind, passionate fan base out there is Bills Mafia. And with Brady coming to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the window opens. It's this shining light moment, Karen, for the AFC East and for Buffalo Bills fans saying we have our franchise quarterback in Josh Allen. We finally have good players, a lot of talent on both sides of the football. The Bill Belichick-Brady era is over. And here they are in this season after the pandemic season, which, a lot of people point at and say, oh, it was a pandemic season. Regardless of how you look at this season, okay, the Bills are 7-5 in second place behind guess who? Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots in the AFC East. That's really been the last, 20, I would say, let's say 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks on Sports Talk Radio, the Patriots have really been the talk of the NFL, and the Bills kind of being like in second place again is just. I think it's been one of the big surprises in the NFL this season. What do you make of the Buffalo Bills so far in the 2021-2022 NFL season?
Yeah, I think the Bills still have a lot of potential. I mean, the Patriots are just exceeding everybody's expectations currently. I don't know if you watched the Monday Night Football game, but it was a good game. I mean, it was just extenuating circumstance, just a weird game with the Patriots only throwing 3 passes in the entire game. It was just a strange game. But the Bills are coming into this one having lost 2 of their last 3. I don't know if that's a situation where they get motivated by it or they're extra amped up to get another win here and compete with the Patriots for the top of their division, or if you get something where they're like trying to figure it out. I don't know what their status is in that regard. But something that was interesting, I saw a note here about the game, about Tom Brady's success against the Bills. And granted, it's different teams, different year, and all of that. But Tom Brady is 32-3 in 35 career starts against the Bills. Pretty darn good. So,
really good.
I mean, I don't see any reason why that would change. I mean, if he has a team figured out, and like I said, things are different, but that's a pretty good record against a team.
It is. And just because you don't win your division doesn't mean you can't make it to the Super Bowl. You can ask last year's Tampa Bay Buccaneers, of course, not winning the division, but going on to win the Super Bowl. So, yes, at this stage in the game and in this episode of Bucs Bonus, we are placing a lot of emphasis on the divisions themselves and these teams that are atop those divisions at this particular point in time. But we all know that the Bills are still a Super Bowl contender, even though they've hit a bit of a rough patch midway through the season. Karen, health notes. Let's just kind of go over that. What are some of the key injuries that you're watching out for, and what could we see unfold on Sunday afternoon as far as actives and inactives?
So the only player that's been officially ruled out as of Friday afternoon is Jordan Whitehead. So that's a little discouraging for the Bucs secondary, which I know we just keep talking about. But you see him there, Richard Sherman, him and Justin Watson were added to the practice squad list. So the 21-day practice squad, or not practice squad list, the practice period rather, meaning that they can be activated now in the next 21 days, or 21 days from the day that they were activated from the injured list. So maybe we see Richard Sherman back. That could always be a good thing. Jamel Dean, he was upgraded to full participation with a concussion. So some of those are encouraging if they can get some of those guys back.
Slowly but surely trying to get a little more healthy towards the back end of the 2021-2022 NFL season. One final note here before we kind of look ahead to Sunday at kickoff at Raymond James Stadium. Antonio Brown. What kind of impact on the locker room in your reporting has that had on this Bucs team? This is a team that I don't think is really going to miss Antonio Brown that much on the field just because there's so many offensive weapons. Definitely a favorite target of Brady without question. but it's not like some other teams out there that are receiver starved at this point in time. So Antonio Brown, just kind of the overall reception within the Buccaneers locker room. What are we hearing?
I mean, they're not there, so it's not an issue. You know, him and Mike Edwards, both not in the locker room. Bruce Arians said it. You know, we're treating this like they're injured guys. We're not going to speak to them for 3 weeks, and business as usual. I mean, you can't let some of that stuff. If a player's not there, then it shouldn't impact how you guys play. They've proven that they can win without him. He's missed numerous games this season. So that's their approach. I mean, they got to be focused on who is playing, who will be out on the field for them. And then, you know, what Bruce Arians said is address it after those 3 weeks.
We'll, of course, be very curious to see what happens in the weeks ahead as far as Antonio Brown getting kind of reintroduced to the Buccaneers locker room after the suspension, the 3-game suspension without pay by the NFL for violation of COVID protocols. Karen, your assessment of what we're looking at as far as really a great football game come Sunday afternoon. Bills coming into town, taking on Tom Brady and the Bucs. What are you going to be watching for? I'm really excited for this one. This is a great game.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching the scoreboard. 30 points seems to be the magic number. The Bucs are 7-0 this season when they score 30 or more points. So if they can handle business in that regard, then I think they're going to be in a good situation. Then you also look at how well they've been playing at Raymond James Stadium this season, that they're 5-0 at home and their win streak goes back to last season even, that they've been playing really well at home. So I think that's the one thing I'm looking for. I had mentioned earlier about the defense. If they can get some pressure on Josh Allen, and then the Bucs offense is able to put up 30 or more points. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be the offense. We can have a defensive score in there too, to get them past that 30-point mark, which seems to be what they've been shooting for.
I like when the defensive touchdowns get scored, because then we're all rowing together, right?
Yes.
Rowing together in the end zone. Karen Loftus of WFLA Sports joining us on Bucs Bonus, powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY. Of course, WFLA News Channel 8, your official Bucs station. Everything you need to know on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, as well as on air on WFLA News Channel 8. 8 on your side. Again, your official Bucs station. For Karen Loftus, I'm JB Biunno, folks. Fridays, we'll see you for Bucs Bonus, powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY.